Rec, 2007. Directed by Jaume Balagueró and Paco Plaza, Rec is widely considered one of the most terrifying found footage films ever made. Shot in Barcelona, the story follows a late-night TV reporter and her cameraman who are covering a routine shift at a fire station. But when they respond to a distress call at a nearby apartment, they end up locked inside a building plagued by a horrifying infection. This film was shot entirely with a handheld camera, creating an intense claustrophobic atmosphere. There's no musical score, which adds to the realism. The infected are fast, aggressive, and terrifying, but what really sets Rec apart is its unexpected twist. The virus has supernatural origins tied to demonic possession and Vatican experiments. Made on a $2 million budget, Rec grossed over $32 million worldwide and won numerous horror awards. It spawned 3 sequels and inspired the American remake Quarantine in 2008. Critics praised it for its raw terror and reinvention of both the zombie and possession subgenres. It's a must-watch for horror fans who like their scares up close and panic-inducing. The Blair Witch Project, 1999. In 1999, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland. At least, that's what audiences were led to believe. The Blair Witch Project, directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, was one of the earliest and most influential found-footage horror films, using fake missing person flyers and a website to blur the line between fiction and reality. Shot on a $60,000 budget and later boosted to $750,000 for post-production and marketing, it earned a staggering $248 million worldwide. The film follows Heather, Mike, and Josh as they document their journey into the Black Hills to investigate the legend of the Blair Witch. Their footage, discovered a year later, forms the entirety of the film. With its shaky camera work, improvised dialogue, and growing sense of dread, the Blair Witch Project pioneered a style that would inspire an entire subgenre. It's often credited with launching the modern found footage craze and proving that horror doesn't need gore, it just needs psychological realism and a believable setting. Paranormal Activity, 2007. Directed by Oren Peli, Paranormal Activity brought found footage into the mainstream. Made for just $15,000, the film follows a young couple, Katie and Micah, who set up a camera in their home to document strange events that seem to escalate each night. Rather than relying on loud jump scares, the film uses still shots and subtle movements, like a door creaking or bed sheets shifting, to unsettle viewers. The pacing is slow but deliberate, creating a sense of unease that builds towards a shocking climax. It's the kind of film that made people scared to sleep with the lights off. Released theatrically after positive film festival buzz and a viral marketing campaign, Paranormal Activity went on to gross over $193 million, spawning a massive franchise. Its minimalist style and domestic setting resonated with audiences, proving that real horror can happen in your own bedroom. Lake Mungo, 2008. This Australian mockumentary-style horror film, directed by Joel Anderson, didn't receive a wide release, but has gained a cult following for its deeply emotional and subtly terrifying story. Shot as a faux documentary, the film explores the mysterious drowning of a teenage girl named Alice Palmer and the strange events her family experiences afterward. The realism is striking. Interviews with family members and grainy video footage give it a true crime feel. The horror builds slowly, layering grief, secrets, and supernatural chills until the devastating final reveal. There are no loud scares here, just a quiet, creeping sense of dread. Lake Mungo was made for under $1 million, and although it didn't make a massive box office impact, it became a cult classic through word of mouth and horror forums. Critics and fans often place it among the most underrated horror films ever made. It's not just a ghost story, it's a meditation on loss, memory, and the things left unsaid. Cloverfield, 2008. Produced by J.J. Abrams and directed by Matt Reeves, Cloverfield merged found footage with blockbuster-scale monster horror. The film follows a group of friends in New York City who are caught in the middle of a giant creature attack, documenting the chaos with a handheld camcorder during what was supposed to be a going-away party. Shot with a $25 million budget, it brought in over $172 million worldwide, proving that found footage could deliver large-scale destruction without losing its intimacy. The film's unsteady camera, limited perspective, and frantic pacing capture the fear and confusion of being trapped during a disaster. Cloverfield stood out for showing the monster attack through the eyes of everyday people rather than the military or government. It influenced other hybrid found footage films like Chronicle and Project Almanac. The franchise later expanded with sequels that explored the broader universe, but the original remains the most visceral and unpredictable. Host, 2020. Created during the early COVID-19 pandemic, Host is one of the most innovative and timely found footage films ever made. Directed by Rob Savage, it was shot entirely over Zoom, with actors filming themselves in lockdown. The premise is simple but terrifying. A group of friends conducts a virtual seance and accidentally invites a malevolent entity into their homes. Clocking in at just 56 minutes, the film makes the most of its short runtime. Glitches, lags, screen freezes, and digital distortions are all used to deliver genuine scares. It plays on the isolation and fear of lockdown, creating something uniquely modern yet classically chilling. Host was made on a shoestring budget but became a viral hit on Shudder, the horror streaming service. It topped multiple Best Horror of 2020 lists and even earned praise from The Guardian and Rolling Stone. It proved that you don't need a big screen or even a traditional set to terrify an audience, just a webcam and a well-timed knock. The Taking of Deborah Logan, 2014. Directed by Adam Robitel, The Taking of Deborah Logan starts as a documentary about Alzheimer's disease, but quickly devolves into a harrowing descent into possession and madness. A film crew follows elderly Deborah and her daughter for a medical research project, but as Deborah's behavior worsens, it becomes clear something far more sinister is at play. The film is both emotionally devastating and deeply terrifying. Jill Larson's performance as Deborah is often cited as one of the most unnerving in horror history. The story builds slowly with documentary-style interviews, home footage, and handheld sequences, culminating in a now iconic tunnel scene that shocked audiences worldwide. Made on a modest budget, the film found its audience through streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime. It blends body horror, found footage, and psychological terror into a uniquely disturbing package. Critics praised its layering commentary on aging and illness, as well as its commitment to absolute dread. As Above, So Below, 2014. Directed by John Eric Dowdle, As Above, So Below is an archaeological horror adventure shot in the catacombs beneath Paris. It follows a team of explorers searching for the legendary Philosopher's Stone, but instead, they find a literal portal to hell. The film is shot entirely in first person, as if recovered from their head-mounted cameras. This blend of Indiana Jones meets The Descent delivers non-stop claustrophobia, psychological torment, and jump scares. As the crew delves deeper, they confront their past traumas, illusions, and supernatural threats in a maze that punishes the mind as much as the body. With a budget of $5 million, the film grossed $41 million globally. Many of the scenes were shot in the real Paris catacombs, adding to the film's gritty, authentic feel. Though critically mixed at release, it has since gained a cult following for its unique concept and nerve-wracking atmosphere. Grave Encounters, 2011. Directed by the Vicious Brothers, Grave Encounters is a satirical yet genuinely creepy take on paranormal investigation shows. It shows the crew of a fictional TV series as they lock themselves inside an abandoned asylum to film an episode. What begins as staged theatrics quickly becomes real when the spirits inside turn hostile. The film uses the familiar tropes of ghost hunting, night vision, static cameras, spirit boxes, but pushes them into terrifying territory. Time loops, endless corridors, and deranged apparitions turn the building into a psychological trap. Shot for just $120,000, the film went viral thanks to YouTube and word of mouth, grossing $5.4 million and leading to a 2012 sequel. Critics noted its mix of mockery and sincere scares, and it remains a favorite for fans of low-budget horror that punches above its weight. The asylum setting and aggressive pacing still make it a standout in the genre. House LLC, 2015. Written and directed by Stephen Cognetti, House LLC documents the aftermath of a haunted house attraction that went horribly wrong. Years after a tragedy killed 15 people on opening night, a documentary crew investigates what really happened inside the Abaddon Hotel. Told through interviews, found footage, and recovered tapes, the film builds an eerie mystery around what seemed like a simple Halloween scare attraction. The tension is slow and unnerving, with subtle background scares that reward close attention. Mannequins that move on their own, doors that open by themselves, and that basement, pure nightmare fuel. The film was independently produced with an estimated budget of $1 million, but gained critical acclaim after premiering at festivals and landing on Shudder. It led to 2 sequels, creating a cult favorite horror trilogy. House LLC is proof that when it comes to found footage, less is more, especially when the scares sneak up on you instead of jumping out. Noroy The House, 2005. Directed by Koji Shiraishi, Noroy The Curse is one of the most chilling and complex entries in found footage horror. This Japanese film presents itself as a documentary made by paranormal journalist named Kobayashi, who investigates a series of strange events, including psychic children, dead pigeons, and cursed rituals. As his investigation deepens, he uncovers a terrifying conspiracy tied to an ancient demon named Kagutaba. What makes Noroy so effective is its slow burn. It unfolds over multiple locations, media formats, and interviews, giving it a layered, authentic feel. It doesn't rely on jump scares. Instead, it creates a steadily building atmosphere of dread that creeps under your skin. The film had a limited release outside Japan and flew under the radar for years, but it's now widely praised in horror circles for its narrative complexity and relentless tone. It's often cited as one of the best found footage films ever made, especially by fans of Asian horror looking for something deeper than just ghosts and ghouls. The Pipsy Tapes, 2007. The Pipsy Tapes, directed by John Eric Dowdle, is one of the most disturbing found footage films ever made, and for years it was almost impossible to find. The film is presented as a faux true crime documentary investigating a serial killer who recorded all of his crimes on VHS tapes. The tapes show terrifying glimpses of stalking, kidnapping, and psychological torment. The killer, known as Edward Carver, toys with law enforcement and manipulates his victims into submission, turning them into puppets in his twisted performance. The realism and brutality of the footage caused controversy and made the film feel too real for many viewers. Though completed in 2007, its release was shelved for almost a decade due to its extreme content and distributor issues. It finally saw a wide release via Shout Factory in 2017, gaining a cult following. Love it or hate it, the Pipsy Tapes is unforgettable, and not for the faint of heart. The Visit, 2015. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, The Visit marked the director's return to form after a series of critical flops. The film follows two siblings who go to spend a week with their estranged grandparents, documenting their trip as part of a family video project. At first, their behavior seems quirky, then it turns sinister. The film balances horror and dark comedy, with disturbing scenes including the grandparents crawling on all fours, scratching walls, and hiding dark secrets in the shed. The children's found footage perspective adds tension and a sense of vulnerability throughout. Made on a modest $5 million budget, The Visit was a massive hit, grossing over $98 million worldwide. It was praised for its simplicity, suspense, and Shyamalan's signature twist ending. Unlike many found footage films that focus on supernatural horror, The Visit taps into real human fear, the kind you find when something's off about the people you love. Unfriended, 2014. Directed by Levon Gabriadze, Unfriended takes the concept of digital horror to new heights by unfolding entirely on a computer screen. The film follows a group of high school friends in a group video call that gets hijacked by a mysterious user, seemingly the spirit of a classmate who died by suicide after being cyberbullied. The action plays out in real time through webcams, instant messages, and social media. As secrets are exposed, the friends turn on each other and are killed off one by one in increasingly horrifying ways. It's a modern twist on supernatural revenge with a digital age setting that feels uncomfortably real. Shot for $1 million, Unfriended earned nearly $64 million at the box office and sparked debate over whether a computer screen could sustain audience attention. The answer? Yes, when done right. The film led to a sequel, Unfriended: Dark Web, which explored similar territory with a more grounded techno-thriller approach. The Medium, 2021. This Thai-South Korean co-production, directed by Banjong Pinsantanankun, blends found footage with regional folklore to deliver one of the most intense possession films in recent memory. Shot documentary style, it follows a film crew documenting a shaman in rural Thailand, only to witness a horrifying spiritual takeover involving her voice. The story begins with a seemingly benign look at local traditions, but spirals into chaos as rituals fail, family curses emerge, and ancient spirits lash out violently. The slow descent into madness is captured with handheld cameras, surveillance footage, and unflinching long takes. Produced by Na Hong Jin, the mind behind The Wailing, The Medium was praised for its disturbing atmosphere and cultural authenticity. It runs longer than most found footage films, over 130 minutes, but earns every second with some of the most frightening scenes in Southeast Asian horror. Though relatively new, The Medium is already making waves in international horror circles, especially among fans looking for spiritual horror that feels grounded, immersive, and devastating. And that wraps up our look of 15 of the most spine-chilling found footage horror films ever made. And since you asked in the comments, if we had to recommend just one to start with, it's Wreck. It's terrifying, fast-paced, and blends zombie horror with demonic lore in a way that still holds up today. Perfect if you want something that grips you from start to finish. So, which one gave you nightmares? And which one should we include in part 2? Drop your picks below and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next.